Hey guys, this is going to be a how-to video for installing the FHR center console kit. Please enjoy the video. I'm going to go through a tutorial step by step on how I did it, just so that if there's anybody out there trying to install one, you'll be able to watch this video and follow along. Here's a look at what the inside should look like. This center seat right here, you just push this button and this pops down. That's where your cup holders and everything are. There's a couple of hinges back here, as you can see. We're just gonna pop off these pins, like that right there. Pull that one off, pull that out, and pull that out. And then that whole thing comes loose, and that part's done. All right, the next step here is you've got to remove this outer cover. It's real easy. Just find a spot. I found right here seems to be the best. Pull this out. You can see how that just jams down in there. It's just a little piece of plastic that goes down in between there. And then just keep working your way around. Pull that up. As you can see, this all starts to pull apart. Keep working your way around, just a little bit at a time, and eventually that whole leather piece will come off like that. And then you have your foam padding. Put that to the side, and then you're left with just the plastic cup holder, and that's it. Okay, this next step is going to be installing this bracket on the back of this. You'll notice there's two holes, one that's down kind of low and one that's up high, depending on your orientation. If you hold it like this, there's one down low and up high, but you want to install it like this. And it's going to go right on the back of this, to where those two top bolts line up with these holes. There's two long screws with these spacers. That's what's going to hold it on there. You're also going to install these brackets on the side at the same time. These bolts will go through this bracket, through that bracket, through those plastic holes, and out the other side with the lock nut on the end. These brackets are slightly different. If you notice there, one has a rounded edge, the other one has a 90-degree angle. One is for the left and one is for the right. The way you determine which side goes on which side, just remember the one with the point is going to be on the passenger side. So if this were sitting in the buggy, it would be like this. This is how it would fold up and go back down. And this would be your passenger side. So the point is on the passenger. This has no washer on the outside of it. This bracket will act as a washer, it's thick. Then put your spacer here, go through here, go all the way through to the other side, and then get yourself another spacer. Put it on the other side, and then screw that lock nut on, and just make it hand tight for now. Okay, we're going to do the same thing to the other side. We got our bolt and our spacers. So we'll put the rounded edge on the driver's side. We'll put the bolt first through the top hole, then your spacer, then run it through the bracket, through the seat, bracket, your other spacer on the other side, and then your lock nut. Just keep it hand tight. Here's what it looks like from the back. Okay, the next step is to get you a 1/4 inch drill bit in your drill. You're going to turn this on its side, and you're going to line this bracket up to where it's pretty even all the way across. You'll notice there's a gap right down here at the bottom. I want that gap to be even all the way down, and the top to be kind of even with the top. And then you're going to drill 3 holes here. Be careful not to drill too deep. You're going to go through an initial plastic barrier here. If you keep going, you're going to go through your cup holder. You don't want to do that. You just want to go through this first outer piece of plastic. You can see there's an air gap in here. So just drill through that first layer. So we'll drill 3 holes here, get everything lined up. So there's one. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and put one of these bolts in there. That way this thing doesn't move as I'm drilling my other holes. It'll be secure. We'll put this washer on the other side. You don't need a washer on this side because it's up against this metal. But you do need a washer on this side because it's plastic. So we'll stick a washer in there. Okay, I'd recommend getting a pair of needle nose to stick down in here because it's very tight to try to get your hands in there. So you can take your needle nose, turn your nut like that, put it down in there, and then twist this, and then it goes right on there. And I'm not going to make it real tight. I'm just going to kind of snug it up where it'll stay in place. And then I'll finish drilling my other 2 holes. Now that bracket won't move. So now you can see I've got all 3 of those bolts in there, all with a washer and a nut on the inside. Now we're going to do the exact same thing to this side. Now the one difference on this side, which would be the driver's side, is you have another piece of plastic here, as you can see there. And what you do is you drill all the way through there, and then they provided you with a longer screw that will go in the middle. So we're going to drill this one a little further. Okay. So now we'll take this longer screw, pop it through there. Put your washer on, and put your nut on. And then that one's done. And then we'll do another short one in the back. Okay, all those are on. They're just loosely on. I haven't tightened them down yet. But this is kind of should be where you're at. We've got this bracket in the back. Got this down the side with all 3 of your bolts. This down the side with all 3 of those. The washer's on the inside. Remember, this one's a long bolt. All the rest are short. That part's done. All right, we're back in the machine now. This is the next part that we're looking to install, but it won't install with this in the way, so we're going to have to remove this little plastic clip. Should be easy to just bend these little ears out here a little bit, and then that pops right out. Okay. And then this sit right here. And there's going to be 2 holes right here. There's little rubber grommets in it. You can just pop those rubber grommets right out. Those come right off. And then these will go here. These holes are going to be just a little bit too small that are on this. So you're going to have to drill those out of here using that same 1/4 inch bit. Okay, I'm going to drill these other 2 holes out just to avoid any metal shavings. I'm going to turn on the vacuum here. And you've got these last 2 bolts with washers here. So we're going to put those in. All right, I'm going to try to show you how I install this. So this comes with a washer, a nut, and a bolt. These holes line up perfectly on here. Now that I've drilled them out a little bit, it'll just fit. I put the bolt through there first. Then I put the washer on the back. There's very, very little room back here. So I can't show you what I'm doing. But basically I'm just kind of sliding this plate back and forth, easing that washer into place. And then I'm gonna put this nut on the back side and do the exact same thing. Just kind of slide this thing out, and then you can take your Allen wrench while you're holding that nut in the back and spin it, get it lined up. And there it is, it's on. So now you just have to tighten that down. Again, this is a 5/32 Allen wrench. And then the nut that's on the back is a 7/16. And then they give you 4 of these self-tappers. We're gonna put 1 here, 1 here, and then a couple down here at the bottom. All right, here's my 7/16 wrench. Just use the open end, put it back here on the nut. Go ahead and tighten that down. Okay, now that we got these 2 top bolts bolted in, we're gonna put these self-tappers in. I got a 1/4 inch drive with a 10mm socket. And we've got 3 holes right down here at the bottom. Okay, there's 1. There's 2. There's 3. So now we have both of our top bolts in with lock nuts and washers. And we got our 3 self-tappers. All right, with this plate completely on here, these tabs are going to be in the way. So you need to bend these over. They're pretty thin and pretty easy to bend. So you can pretty much just bend them over with your hand like that. And then you can get a hammer and kind of finish. Now that seat will sit on there all the way. This seat, the back cushion just pops right off. It just has these little push tabs that go in the back here. So you can actually take that seat off. That gives you a lot more advantage to be able to push those down. Okay, it's time to go ahead and tighten all these down. I found a Allen wrench that would fit in my drill just to make it a little faster. I got a 7/16 wrench. Put that right here on the end. that down. Over here to the other side, the same thing. So we've got everything on here tight now. And we'll just go and start putting our cushion back on. So our cushion has a little cutout in it. It'll go over that little notch right there. And the same thing for this. It's got a little notch in the back. Put that over there. Turn this over. And then we'll start sliding this little plastic piece right back in here the same way we took it off. Okay, so that's all completely back in place now, just like it was. And here's what it should look like at the end. Got your brackets all on the side. Everything's tight. Put these in here. And all that. And we're gonna go install it back in the machine. Okay, now that we have these two bolts in, our self-tappers, you got 3 down here at the bottom and 1 in the middle right here. Don't use these little holes. I started by trying to use that, and those are not the right holes. So it comes with 4 self-tappers, 1, 2, 3, and 4. 3 on the bottom, 1 in the middle. These 2 up here are bolts with nuts and washers. Once you get your seat completely put back together, this has these little notches in it that slide into these slots right here. So you can lift it up all the way as high as you want. If you want it up here, adjust it down to here or down to here, or you can flip it over. You can put it in there and you can have it just like a cup holder again. So if you want it this way, you got to take these pins, and there's a couple of holes back here. You can see these holes. Line up those holes, slide this all the way through, and then hook that right there. Same thing on this side. Slide that all the way through, and hook that right there. And then now that's locked into place. And you're done. That's the end of it.